Hello, Virgo. Welcome. Take a seat and relax. There's nothing you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy your reading, Virgo. And to start your reading off, we have card number 20. This card is about hope. Hope grows in the dump. The lotus flower blossoms out of the mud. Hope does not exist in a perfect world. In a perfect world, there would be no need for hope. In a perfect world, no one would ever know or feel what hope is. If you wish to experience and explore this crazy, wonderful feeling of hope, then one must go to the dump. If you wish to test your strength and see if you would choose hope over despair, then one must go to the dump. The dump is where you will find hope, and the dump is where the lotus flower blossoms. So sometimes, imagine being a soul and you're seeing all these humans do all these crazy things, right? And imagine hearing about hope, hearing that there's this crazy thing that happens, crazy feeling that happens, that even when everything is going wrong and literally everything is going wrong and it doesn't seem like anything is going to go right, and there exists this thing called hope, and there exists this thing to where even when that happens and everything is a dump, that people still have a hope. People have a feeling of love still, even in a place to where it's just a dump, even where there's mud. People still look for the sunlight, and they keep going, and they know that they will find that sunlight eventually. And then the lotus flower ends up popping out of the mud, and it found it. It did it. It went through a long adventure, through a long nightmare. But it eventually reached the surface. It eventually reached the sunlight, and it blossomed out of the mud. The lotus flower did. Just like that hope, just like that those people that are also stuck in the mud, but they keep going, they keep swimming, they keep going because they know they will eventually reach the sunlight. And how cool is that? Being in a place to where you don't know where you're going, and you don't know what's going on, and it's just darkness, and you just keep going, because what else is there to do, right? What are you gonna do? Just be stuck in there for all of eternity? No, we are going to get out of this dump, and we're going to find that sunlight, and we're going to achieve our goals, and we are going to achieve our dreams and success, and we will blossom out of that mud like a lotus flower. Interesting. Four of Cups with the World. So the Four of Cups is that being in the dump. This guy is in the dump. And that is why there is a cup there, there's a cup there, there's a cup there. So things have been going wrong one time, things have been going wrong again, and things have been going wrong a third time. So any smart human being, right, when another opportunity comes, you're going to think, well, things have been going wrong 3 times already before, and things will go wrong a 4th time. But see, that's just being in the dump, right? This guy doesn't have hope. I wonder what hope would do for this guy. Maybe this 4th cup, that's the hope. But he's saying, no, I don't want it. I want to be stuck in the dump. I want to be stuck in the mud. The world is all about those patterns too. Right? Going around and around and around. So things have been happening over and over and over again, but you need to have hope. You need to be the one that goes for the sunlight, no matter how long it's been stuck in the mud. This is the feeling of hope. This guy is saying no. He's crossed his arms. No, universe. No more gifts. even though he doesn't but what he doesn't realize is, right, say when you plant a seed in the ground, right, are you being rude to that seed, right? Are you being disrespectful to that seed for putting it in the dump, right, for putting it in such a dark space? Or is that just how the world goes? Is that just how life is, right? Because you put that seed in the ground, and then you water it, and then you nurture it, right? You put this person in the dump, and then you water that person. You nurture that person, right? And then that seed sprouts a little plant, and then it reaches for the surface, and then it turns into a plant, and it grows, and it blossoms, and then it grows something, and then but that's how life is. That's how the world works, right? So why would it be different with people? Imagine you planting the seed, right? And then you wanting to give the seed flower or water, right? And then the seed goes, no, I don't want that water because you put me in this dark place and I don't like it. You put me in this dump and I don't like it, and you're being mean, and I don't want anything else from you. Imagine a person acting like that. We all act like that, but the world, the universe is infinitely smarter than us. It can see infinite more things than us, and it knows that putting us in the dump is what needs to happen for us to grow, for us to sprout, for us to blossom, right? We need to be placed in the dump first, and that's what this is going on here. So stop saying no to what's going on. Stop saying no to the universe, because the universe is just taking care of you. I know it sounds weird, right? Imagine being placed in the dump and someone says, well, they put you in the dumps because they're taking care of you. Well, you would be like, no. That's not how you take care of people. But this is different with the universe. The universe is something much bigger, and all the universe wants is for us to learn what hope is, and to learn to create that hope, and learn to keep going, and learn that even though it might be dark for a while, that eventually we do get to that sunlight, and that adventure of being placed in the dark and finding that sunlight, that is what the world is all about. Intensity. Wow. And look at that kind of looks like rushing towards the sun. It's dark over here and there's an arrow going that way, and it's rushing right towards that sun, right towards the light. That's cool. Intensity. It gets intenser maybe the closer you get to that sunlight. Imagine that seed, that sprout, right, when it's just dark and it's just dark and it's just dirt, and then all of a sudden things start changing, right? And you feel more warmth, and you're like, what is this? And then all of a sudden, boom, there's light, right? That must be a huge change. That must be a very intense change, right? Same with like butterflies and caterpillars, right? Imagine the caterpillar when it goes into its cocoon, when it goes into its what's the butterfly one called? Chrysalis. Imagine the intensity of what that caterpillar goes through to be dissolved and turned into a butterfly. So all of these changes are intense, right? We're same with coal, right? You need to add a lot of pressure and heat and stress for it to turn and transform into a diamond, right? So it's the same with people. It's just how the world goes. So it's the same with people, right? We got to put ourselves in the dump for us to blossom, for us to find the light, for us to understand the difference as well. So mind is pointing that way. The intensity is pointing that way. Interesting. Maybe this feels like the reason that all of those spiritual people talk about meditating and talk about quieting the mind. Because this feels like, the further you are from the light, the more you are in your mind, and the more you are like this person, right? But the closer you are from the light, look at that, I'm not even on this mind card anymore, so I must be silent here. It's going to be intense, but it's going to be very silent as well. The mind is going to stop where we're getting, the closer we get to the light. the closer we see the world for how it is, instead of putting ourselves and our emotions, seeing us as the only player, right? So this feels like this Four of Cups is here when we are in our mind, right? When we are in the ego, when we are saying, well, you've done this to me, you've done this to me, you've done this to me, so I'm not going to accept this other thing, the mind can't really see the world for what it is, in the perspective that you are in now, which is why it's necessary to quiet it down so that we can be receptive and learn these new things, and to maybe hear a different perspective, because it's hard to hear and listen to someone else when we keep talking, right? When we are talking, we are mostly listening to what we are saying, and we don't really listen to what others are saying. So this sun, this world, it's like this is the world as it is, right? Manifested into this person, and it's hard to listen to this person if our mind is chatting it up. So the dump, maybe that's why it's a way to quiet the seed as well. Make it being in such a silent environment will make the seed also be silent, maybe. But this feels like you're being placed in the dump, and then your mind is like, no, why is this happening to me? No, I don't deserve this. Even though this is a good thing that's happening. So, I think I'm making sense. I think I'm rambling and that's not making sense, but I think that's kind of the point. That the more I talk and the more I ramble on about this, the less it's going to make sense. So how about we just be quiet and listen and pay attention, because we will learn another way. But we will see the difference, right? It's going to be easy for the seed to see the difference between the outside light and it being stuck in the mud. There's going to be two huge differences. So that is what this is talking about. As soon as you go one way, it's going to be you're going to see something totally different. As soon as you go the other way, you're going to see the changes. Like, it's going to be vastly different. And it's going to be obvious which way you want to go. Obviously pick hope, because you will get out of it. things will come back around. Ace of Wands. Ace is potential, infinite potential. This is like a baby who has potential. He has so many years ahead of him, has so many things to learn, has so many things to be good at. And the Princess of Discs. Wow. So we end up with being like this guy, saying no to the universe, saying no, things keep happening. No. Bad things keep happening to me, so I don't want to do anything anymore, right? We imagine that, right? Oh, there's that left and right. There you go, right? There's this way, and then compared to the Princess of Discs, which is the princess is that same potential. So the way the Thoth Tarot book describes the ace and the princess is that the ace is the throne of the princess. So the ace is the beginning, right? And then the princess is also the beginning, but there is a princess because the world is a circle, right? So imagine this is the princess, right? The start. The ace is the potential, is everything that the princess is able to explore, right? So the princess then turns into the knight, then turns into the queen, then turns into the king, then eventually goes back to the princess. Except there's two different princesses. There's the princess that started, right? And then there's the princess that ended, that is still the princess, but it has the knowledge of all of her adventure of this whole circle. So the beginning princess and the end princess are two different princesses, but they are the same princess, right? I hope that makes sense. One is just at the beginning of the adventure, and the other one is just at the end of the adventure. But they both end up being that princess, and then you realize, right? And so then, but this Princess of Discs, so the disc is the last element as well. We start with wands, we go to the cups, we go to the swords, and then we end with the discs. So this is like two different endings, and you having the knowledge of all of it. So it's like the flower, right? The seed was planted, right? And then eventually it pops up this flower. I'm sorry, it's drying. I should have just done all the readings in like the day that I cut this flower, because the flower looked so good for for my water and air signs, and now it's drying out. Anyways, So this is like saying that the seed was this princess, right? The ace is the potential that it has. So it's all of it. It's the seed and this flower that blossomed. Okay. But then the seed went on the adventure of sprouting, turning into a plant, and then blossoming this beautiful flower. And then now this beautiful flower is the end of that process, is the seed and that princess. They are both the princess, right? The seed, the beginning, and then the flower, the end. But this flower has the knowledge of the whole process, of it being in the ground, of it being a seed, of it sprouting, of it turning into a plant, of it growing out of the ground, and then of it being a beautiful flower. So this flower has that, all of that knowledge, but at the end it's still the princess. It figures out who it is. I had to turn into all of these other things to figure out who it was. So now this end product, this princess, is the one that sits on the throne, that sits on her whole adventure, because that's who she is. You know, she wouldn't be who she is without her, going through the whole circle. Ooh, that was kind of hard to get through, but I really hope that made sense, because it made sense in my mind. And these are the things that I'm learning and that I'm trying to teach and that I'm trying to talk about, because they're fun to me. So, yeah, this is tarot. Cool, Virgo. All right, let's get one more card. Number 21. That's interesting. It's the one right after 20. This is my grass is always greener card. This is my, you know what's funny? I used to stand in here and wish I was out there. Now I'm out there and I wish I was in here. Michael said that. He was manager. He's always wanted to be manager. You know, he loves being manager. But then an opportunity came along to where he would get paid more as a salesman. So he took that because he wanted to get paid more. But that soul event made him realize, hey, I don't care about this money, really. I just miss being manager. I just really want to be manager, even if I'm going to get paid less, you know. So then he ends up being manager again. They switched, and Jim became salesman, and Michael Scott became manager again. And oh, how happy he was, and oh, I bet he was grateful that he became a salesman for a bit, because it made him realize how much he loved being a manager, and that he was always right where he belonged. He was right where he wanted to be. And imagine, it's like the beginning Michael, right, who didn't know that being manager is what he's always wanted to be, you know, that he is right where he wanted to be. And then the princess, right, this Michael Scott, became something else, became a queen, right, became a knight, became a king, right. In this case, Michael became a salesman, right. And then he has the knowledge of being a salesman again, right, but it just made him realize that this is where he wants to be. So that's where he goes back to being a manager. Right, he goes, but now this new Michael Scott is different than the first Michael Scott, because this new Michael Scott has the knowledge that of this whole circle, and he has the knowledge that this is where he wants to be, in this part of the circle. And he wants to be a manager. And now the beginning and the end product, Michael Scott, are two different people. One that would be okay with going somewhere else where he doesn't know that that's where he belongs, compared to the end product Michael Scott, to where he appreciates where he is, because he knows that that's what he's always loved to do, and that's where he wants to be, you know. So the same with the princess. Cool. I hope that makes sense. I hope it helped. If it did help, please help me as well by leaving a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing if you would like to keep hanging out, as this is a safe place where we try to figure life out together. So thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.